23rd, 2013. Begin by rising to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Riker.
Here.
Mr. Hupkey. Mr. Wicker. Mr. Hack.
Here.
Mr. Callahan. Mr. Forsythe.
Here. Okay. Let the record show that with the village president, the quorum is present, so we may officially conduct business. First order of business being the approval or correction of the minutes of the September 9, 2013 village board meeting. So I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented, or if you see a reason to correct it, please let us know what that might be.
Motion.
Second. Motion by trustee Forsythe, seconded by trustee Riker to approve the minutes of September 9, 2013 as presented. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Forsythe.
Yes.
Mr. Riker.
Yes.
Mr. Hack.
Yes.
And President Durant.
Yes. Minutes approved as presented. Next item, accounts payable and payroll. Trustees, in your packet, you have the payroll for the pay period ending September 14, 2013, in the amount of $48,080.01. You also have bills from the general fund totaling $38,704.62, and bills from the water and sewer fund totaling $8,927.28. The total of those two categories of bills is $47,631.90. We'll entertain a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion by trustee Riker, seconded by trustee Hack to pay the bills as presented. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Riker.
Yes.
Mr. Hack.
Yes.
Mr. Forsythe.
Yes.
President Durant.
Yes. Motion carries. Bills will be paid as presented in the packet. Now, we come to the public comment and or questions about any non-agenda items. So, anybody have anything on any non-agenda items? Looking at the crowd, I don't think they do. All right, we'll move on to reports of committees. Clerk, you will find, trustees, you will find in your packet the report of income from the clerk collector and the treasurer's report for the month. If there are any questions, we'll answer them. If not, we will move down the agenda. Okay, I will move down to the next item, which is the police chief report. Chief.
Actually, nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, we're probably going to talk to you a little bit later about the parade route for the high school.
Yeah,
I know.
You mean you want me to stick around? Okay. No.
That won't be long. Okay. Engineers report. Troy, do we have any updates on anything?
Just an update on the street paving project. They've completed all the concrete, sidewalk, and curb work. They're grinding, removing pavement now, and they hope to start paving possibly at the end of the week. That's all.
Okay. Takes me a while to write that. All right, moving on to old business, the request to declare trees a nuisance. Request to have the village declare trees at 416 North Conrad Street a nuisance. This was tabled last month. And it was tabled for the purpose of doing some further research. And George, you want to report on the research that we've done so far?
I was asked to contact other communities in the area regarding their policies. I spoke with the staff at Beecher, Monique, Creed, and Manhattan and gathered the following information. Beecher said they've not had a request of this type. If they did, they might file a long-form complaint and have the court make a judgment. They would not go on private property to remove the trees. Oni said if there was a question, they might call the arborist to determine status of a tree. If warranted, they might cite the property owner, then proceed through the court. They would not remove trees on private property. Creek, they might have arborists review condition of the tree. If dead, it is the responsibility of the property owner to have the tree removed. They do not remove trees on private property. Manhattan, they would not get involved if the tree is on private property. It's a matter between two parties.
So, research has determined that all of the communities around it would not go onto private property and would leave it up to the true property owners involved to take care of the issue. We have also had our attorneys look into the requirements relative to what a nuisance is, and the reports basically come back that it does not fit within the parameters of our current ordinance. And we have also been cautioned to not get involved with going on private property because of the sort of issues that it raises. And so trustees, having all that information, it would, I believe, take a motion to create some type of action, and no motion would in effect mean that we've researched it and there's no action that we wish to take place at this time. So is there a motion to take any action on this particular request? Hearing none, our policy does not authorize us to do this, and therefore that would be we will follow our policy. All right, Ivy. Moving on to the next item, the audit report. We have with us both Marcy's. The Marcy on our payroll and the Marcy from our auditing firm, who coincidentally both spell their names I-E.
Correct.
So we can't say Marcy with a Y, Marcy with an I-E.
Right. I emailed Marcy a little earlier, a month and a half ago or something, and I laughed. I said, this is really kind of strange emailing myself because I've never done that before. I have had Marcy's with Y's in that, but it's a little odd having the same name here, but it's a good name, so it's all right.
That's right.
Thank you for having us again this year. We've been auditing, I don't know, 13 years or so, I believe, 12, 13 years. So we enjoy coming here. Once again, I'll say it's one of my staff's favorite places to come to audit. So it's saying a lot about you guys' village and the people that work here. They're very cooperative with us all the time, have things ready, organized. They know what things are when we ask for them. We told Marcy we'll work with her and get her, used to what we do in that, so look forward to doing that next summer. Wanted to just take about 5 minutes of your time tonight and go through a few numbers that you may be interested in. If you've got your packet, I see a couple of them, the notebooks there. If you flip to page 11, that is Exhibit A. It is basically, it's renamed this year. It's one of our new GASBs that we've changed names. Instead of a balance sheet or a statement of net assets, it's now called a statement of net position. Essentially the same thing as it has been for you guys because the other things that would have been involved in any changes here you guys do not have. You're not selling off parking garages or parking meters or anything like that. So we don't have anything else to worry about other than changing the name of the statement. But on this statement, it shows you basically your balance sheet, where you're at as of the end of March. So at the end of March this year, for our right-hand column there, your total assets were $14,126,000, which was an increase of about $110,000 over last year. So that's good news. Your liabilities, on the other hand, this year were just short of 2.9. Last year, they were about 3.2. So again, you've paid down some liabilities. So increasing your assets, paying down your liabilities. The village is in a net position better than last year of about $246,000, which you'll see on the next page if you flip the page with me to page 12. This is your statement of activities. It basically tells the readers the various functions that the village does for the community, the expenses involved, and then how those expenses are paid, whether they're through charges of services or grants, or if they're being paid by the taxes that are collected, various taxes and that. So a couple things to point out here, your governmental activity expenses, which is your everything except your water, sewer, and garbage. Anything else going on in the village. Those expenses compared to last year dropped about $26,000. Your charges for services for those services also dropped about $68,000. The majority of that was due to the vehicle stickers. You collect those every 3 years. Last year, 2012 was a big collection year. Last year you collected some, but most of those revenues had come in 2012. In your water fund, the expenses actually went up about $61,000 over last year. The sewer fund expenses went down about $62,000, so they essentially offset each other. The charges for those services, the water fund charges went up about 20 and the sewer about 18. You have the 3%, I believe it is, increase each year, so you're going to continue that increase in those charges to help offset those increased expenses. Down at the bottom, it shows your general revenues. That is basically what pays for most of your services. Your property taxes increased about $20,000 overall. What is good news, your sales tax went up about $43,000 compared to last year. Your state income taxes went up about $43,000. Your replacement and other taxes did fall about $7,000. That's some of the telecom taxes, replacement, the corporate personal property replacement tax, that type of thing. But like I said, overall, that bottom right-hand corner shows that increase of $246,000. If you flip back to page 20, as part of the village, we do audit a police pension fund also, because that is considered a component unit of the village. It's integral to the village. The village pays a lot of the expenses for that, contributes. So I just wanted to point out a couple things there. The cash and mutual funds in the pension fund increased about $123,000 over last year. On the next page is where that income is coming from, and a couple things there. The employer, meaning the village, paid in about $12,000 additional funds this year compared to last year. Your investment earnings did increase by about $5,000. You're in some mutual funds, some CDs, that type of thing in that pension fund. So wanted to show you that. You do have the $1 million in that fund as of the end of the year. You have a few people retired that are drawing from that, and a number of them paying into that fund. If you flip to page 30 with me, I'm going to let you read most of the footnotes. Not many of them have changed. It's the numbers updated in it. But on page 30, note 5, just to point out, there is the new, as you people know, the new Drawley Chevrolet sales tax rebate agreement, so that is noted there. Then on page, at the bottom of that page, in note 6, of your funds, you have to remember that $760,000 of them are restricted for various purposes. Your motor fuel fund can only be spent for the motor fuel. Your developer fees have some requirements on what can be paid for out of that. And then you've got a few, about $26,000 of other tax levies, balances left, some Social Security levy, things like that that can't be spent for anything else than what they were collected for. And then on note 11, which I'm sorry is on page 35, just wanted to point out the state of Illinois is actually catching up a bit. In the past, you have only You're on the accrual method of accounting, and we usually only pick up 60 days worth of receipts after year end. About 5 years ago, we started picking up 90 to 120 days worth because the state was so far behind. If we didn't pick those up, numbers would have looked really wild. The state owed you. So they are down to actually only owing you about $38,000 as of March for what would normally have been paid 5 and 6 years ago through March. So it's a good thing they're catching up somewhat. Bad thing is we're not getting quite as much money from them, so a little easier for them to catch up. Any questions? The AFR has been filed, the report that needs to go to the state. I believe Marcy has got everything that needs to go to Will County. Police pension report is off and has been filed and approved, so I think we're all caught up with all the filings and everything. Does anyone have any questions?
I think the long and short of it is, we're in good financial shape.
Yes. Yeah.
And our
Yes,
record
we did.
keeping is good, too.
Your record keeping is good. We've not had any problems with any of that, so if any of you have questions as you go through or anytime during the year, we've told Marcy, Diane would call every once in a while. Feel free to call. Our name is on the report. If you've got questions at all, let us know. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Marcy.
and thanks
Thank you
once
both,
again for
Marcy.
having us.
All right.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda, we don't have to, we have to approve.
No, it's just for information.
That's what I thought. I've got my labels mixed up. Next item has to do with our special event permit for the farmer's market. Ladies, want to come forward?
Hi, I'm Nicole, and this is Ashley. We submitted the special events permit, and we changed the date to Saturday due to some research and getting vendors. We actually have the person that's in charge of Frankfurt that's helping us arrange the event here if it's approved, and helping us get some vendors as well. So we have suggested the same location in front of the American Legion.
That would be North Street from the Second Street to the railroad.
Yes.
Okay. And that's the area that you've got. You know, one of the issues, you can turn that down. Thank you. One of the things that you move this from a Sunday to a Saturday, and it begs the question of, I know for a fact every year we have different events on Saturdays throughout the summer. The number one thing that jumps out is the car cruise and the car show, and I'm sure there's probably others. How will this work?
Well, if they need that area, then just like Frankfurt, what they do during Frankfurt Fest, they don't host it that week.
Okay.
Because the Frankfurt Fest is happening.
Will your contracts with your
Yeah.
vendors allow you to do that?
Yeah, you put it in the application. So
Okay.
if there's something, like a date that we know about, like the car show, however, with the car show, if possible, we would like to have the farmer's market as well as the car show, because we think that bringing people from both events could help out with attraction. But if it's too much, then we could definitely arrange around it.
Yeah.
I think-
Finding space, because I'm just thinking myself, the car show has become so amazingly successful in the last few years. They literally are going down every street downtown. And the question becomes, where could we put the other event if it's not there? Because you wind up needing the parking spaces along the railroad track for people coming to view the event and everything, so. Yeah, I think it probably is a no weekend for you. There might be some other events too, and I just want to make sure that you don't get yourself in a contract situation where you've got some kind of liability, or worse yet, we might have a liability.
Can we
So-
look over the calendar to see
Yeah,
if events are
let's see.
scheduled?
Yeah, let's do that. And make sure you get your wording into your contract where there are, it allows for something that we forgot to put on there, sort of, that might spring up.
And it's not just that, I mean, we sometimes get requests to host events, literally the board meeting before it's due, before they have it. I mean, that's happened in the past.
Yeah. And
with some frequency. And so we may not have a lot of advance notice, so that means, you know, either we give you short notice that Saturday is bad, or else that event doesn't happen. If they conflict.
Or,
Well, I was gonna say, we're only requesting for a half block. So, I mean, the way.
other locations.
Pardon me?
So you're suggesting we look at other
Well, there's
locations for
plenty,
events?
in my opinion, there's
Yeah.
plenty of space downtown. So we can always work around it, and like she had mentioned before, I think the more events we have downtown.
I agree.
The more it brings people to the downtown area. So in my opinion, doubling up on events or whatnot would be a positive thing for the town. But it's just a half block that we're looking at, so I don't foresee it being a problem as far as, you know, the events go, as far as taking up that much space. It's not like we're asking for the entire downtown area to be closed for the farmer's market.
Parameter, you have a question?
On those days that there's a special event like the car cruise or anything, is there any reason why we couldn't move it to the old Bennett property or anything?
Move the
market
to another location.
Just for like those special event weekends?
Oh, you mean just down the way, okay.
Either property, you got that grass area or the
Concrete?
the concrete, right? the
Because
slab.
I like their idea with the
Yeah.
car cruise, you're getting that many people out to try to help this thing get off the ground.
And we just move down the street.
Yeah, or on the
Yeah.
opposite side of the.
You know what
Legion.
we're talking about, the
yeah.
the place where we tore down the building?
The only concern that comes to mind is some of the vendors, and again, it depends on who we have, but eggs and meat, for example, they require electricity. And I've talked to the American Legion about allowing for us to use the power if need be, and they were all very supportive about it. So that's the only thing, and again, it depends on if we have those vendors or not, too. So, but state law requires there to be refrigeration.
That's one of the things that I had on my list to make sure that you understood, is that we are going to be able to provide water service lines. I mean, I've done these kinds of things before, and we're not going to be able to do power drops. I mean, we've barely got, you know, that's a really old electrical system downtown. And we were barely able to get the Christmas tree lit downtown. So we can't do like 5 food booths off of as you would normally do off of a drop off of a light pole. It's just not wired for that, unfortunately. So yeah, if you can make private arrangements, that's up to you folks. But
The building south of the Legion, the white building across the street, that's owned by Chris Swanson. He might be willing to work with you guys too.
Great.
A lot of it's not occupied with tenants right now, so
Yeah, that's,
you
yeah.
might be able to open up.
That would be great, because I know that, like before I mentioned, the Legion has been very supportive with opening washrooms and electricity as well. for
Yeah,
power.
you've got empty space right now, so you might be able to do that too.
That'd be great, thank you.
Okay. Another question is, what is the scope of what will be offered for sale? I mean, obviously, farmers market suggests that you're going to have produce. But are you looking towards any other types of sales, like craft or anything like that?
No, strictly food.
Strictly food.
So produce, hopefully, like Nicole had mentioned, meats, cheeses, eggs. If we can get those vendors to come into the town and sign the contract for that. But we're looking at strictly a food farmer's market. No crafts,
Okay.
no other.
And I also stand here, preparation of food as a vendor, no. They can have pickles, jelly, but it's got to be prepared in a certified kitchen. And that includes probably salsa and anything like that you can package. But on the application as well, we have a right to go check out the farm to make sure that they are they're growing their own produce, and they ask for certifications for their jellies for the health department for the state, so anything like that.
Okay. I think I've gone through the questions that we've got. Trustees, have any other questions of things that you've thought of that we need to make sure we ask the question?
My only concern was if you guys talked to the Legion, but it sounds like you guys already did, so.
Okay.
And that's the only business right there at the time, right at the present time.
Yeah, and the Legion seemed excited about it, about hopefully bringing some business to them as well, so.
Okay. And you've asked for like 8 AM till 12 o'clock. Obviously, there's going to be some setup and takedown time. So does that include your setup and takedown time?
No, we were hoping to have the vendors approximately no earlier than 7 AM to start setting
Okay.
up, 7:30 if need to be. And then, of course, ending at noon, so we're hoping to have them all out by 12:30.
1 o'clock, can we do 12:31?
Okay.
The latest.
So you're actually asking for 7 o'clock till 1 o'clock, 7 AM till 1 PM. Okay.
For the road to be closed.
For the close.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. Just so everybody's clear on it, so that we're all clear on it. Okay. And I think because you're in conversations with the Legion does a lot of welcoming home of veterans and things like that. And I'm sure we can probably work something out with them if it occurs on the days where you've got this. Because they might be able to do it in the afternoon after you're over, for example, as opposed to while the sale is going on. So I'm just trying to think out loud of any of the bumps that might come up in the road so that we've addressed them. Anybody else have any other thoughts?
Any specific way you want the tents positioned on the street for the vendors?
I frequent the markets. On Saturday, I stay away from Frankfurt because it's just too full. So I go to Kankakee. You see a few people, you want to take your lawnmower blades down there, the guys sharpening blades. A lot of people selling plants. I mean, can't beat the deals. They want to haul the plants there, you can walk out. Last time I did, it was a rainstorm, so I looked like a wet rat carrying my plants home that my wife had to have. But anyway, I don't see a lot of problems with how they arrange things. A lot of the food vendors anymore are self-enclosed. They're bringing their rides down there. They got a barbecue guy. He's got his own rig and smoker on
Yeah,
it.
that's
They're
kind of what we're asking, what's
Now,
going to
they're serving
happen
them out of
there?
the
Yeah.
their unit trucks. Not some people prepare stuff. They have it
Okay.
pre-made, but they have to meet all the healthcare issues.
Yeah,
But as far as where they line up, realistically, it could be along the street portion. If we shut off the street, they could probably have, Mokina for years had 3 rows, 3 rows of people until it outgrew that space. They used to park over there by the Metro lot in downtown Mokina. That's how it started. I think now they went to a park district office.
Speaking of plants, in October, we would like to have pumpkins and mums, just to throw it out there. Since I said strictly food.
But where they line up, I think along the sidewalk, that way it keeps the center open and everybody can, the sidewalks there. And like I said, they're working out with the Legion. Worst thing they have to do is bring a couple portable facilities. And if Legion is offering the bathrooms and that even makes it easier for them. So.
In the application, if they have tents, they will have to tie them down, just because, I guess in past,
For weather related.
they've had tents fly up. And so, just for safety, we have it that they have to have them tied down if they're going to have them.
What are they going to tie it down to?
Well,
If they're on the street.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them,
there's,
Usually
in
sandbags.
Kankakee, they're self-sufficient the way they set up
Yeah.
Right.
their events.
They have it.
They bring their tools in those tents,
Well,
they bring their own
But
bases.
the
No
question
spikes
is,
in
are
the
they
road.
going to sandbag them, they're going to be tied to cement blocks, or they're going to put augers in the pavement? I mean,
No,
that's.
they don't do that in the
No,
parking lot.
No.
All right.
I've seen that happen.
the other question we do have is, that green area where the Christmas tree is, do we know who owns that
Yes, we
property?
do.
Who does?
Who was that lady?
I have her name in my file, but I don't
Yeah,
remember it.
we do have the owner of it who, at one point in time, was considering, offering it to the village, but has since had second thoughts, but has not had issues with, like, when we had the Girl Scouts do the Christmas time of thing downtown, using it and so on, so.
The car
yeah.
cruise, also, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, the car
Uses
cruise.
that for their big tent, don't they, Don?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I would think probably protocol would say, ask them. We can give you that person's name and contact information, can't we?
Just because we've talked about, again, it depends on the vendors that are available, but we like to have like maybe something for the kids, like a bubbles or a music, maybe have a guy play a guitar. It depends on, what we have available that wants to participate. But that's something that, because we want to get family orientated.
Yeah.
So, and that would be great if we could use that grass area as well.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think it's a good idea,
Okay.
as long as it's, done properly, of course, but I think it's a good idea.
Well, noting all the things that we've noted so far about making sure, like, for the car show kind of thing, because it'll be in the way. Didn't we say that? Okay. We said several things about moving down the street, and I want to make sure that I'm summarizing correctly. That we would talk about those to make sure that you were clear on them, so your vendors would know that, that particular thing was not a good weekend, unless you relocated. We've identified all the areas, we've described what's up for sale, we've talked about tear down and setup time, so we're actually looking at 7 a.m. till 1 p.m. rather than 8 till 12. And you're not going to have any catering or food kind of vendors. It's for food preparation, everything has to be done on time, and you've made arrangements with the Legion to get some electricity for what you needed and all that. So I think you got your bases covered so far. Having said that,
We do have one more thing.
What?
Garbage.
Trash?
Yeah.
Are there cans located downtown in that stretch?
Good question. How can?
I can think of two, but I don't know if we're going to need to add more.
Well, I know the vendors can be responsible for taking their garbage with them, obviously, but I just didn't know for
The public.
coming,
Yeah.
if there were at least a few cans positioned for garbage or.
I think we got a few down there, don't we?
I can think of two in the immediate area, and we can move something around. if we
Yeah.
want to.
Can we just get a couple from Ace and when we're dropping the barricades off, drop them? Because, if they got Merrill involved, I've seen Merrill's markets and he can get quite the following, so.
Good.
They have a tendency of providing a lot of trash.
We could also consider, we could acquire from the high school, because they use the big barrels, the plastic ones for the football games and that, and I'm sure they're in storage during non-football season.
They're just sitting behind the bleachers.
Okay, so
Yeah.
are they metal or plastic?
No, they're all plastic, they're those old soap
Yeah.
or
Big
5
ones
gallon
now, so-
drums.
Yeah, the ones we used to get them from Coke.
Right.
For their syrup.
Right.
They'd get it for the plant.
Are there any recycling bins, by the way? Speaking of the football, do they have any recycling? No?
They
Okay.
just toss in the trash.
Okay.
Really?
They do.
Do you know if the park district or anyone in the area does have any recycling bins that we can maybe ask to borrow or anything of that nature, just to try to think more green?
I thought the junior high had a recycling program.
Not at the games. I don't know about.
No,
I
mean,
don't-
in the school itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. I can do some research on that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I would talk to the school and see if one of the organizations there has a recycling program, because they're good money makers for aluminum cans and stuff like that.
Sure.
So.
You'll have some other people looking for our garbage.
Oh, yeah. You'll have independent operators.
Independent operators.
All right. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is there a motion to approve the request for a special event permit for the idea of having a farmer's market with all the things we've been discussing on the street, North Street, in front of the American Legion post, starting at 7 a.m., set up, clean up by 1 p.m., starting June 7th and finishing October 18th, with the exception of like the car show or whatever else we wind up having to work out. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Reichert, seconded by trustee Hack, to approve the request as noted for the farmers markets from June 7th to October 18th, all on Saturdays. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Reichert?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
President Duran?
You betcha, yes. Motion
Looking
carries.
forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Should we, when will you be able to look through the calendar and let us know if there's any other dates besides the car show planned?
And we can kind of look back at the past history, but one of the issues is, you know, the chief and I have discussed, we have more 5K runs now in 1 year than we used to have 3 years combined. And sometimes we only find out 3 weeks in advance.
We'll just have to change
Yeah.
those.
So, I mean, to the best of our knowledge, we can give you what we've got, but things just pop up.
That'd be great. And whatever you have, I mean, that's, I totally understand
We'd
that.
like to have our applications out by the first of the year.
Okay.
So if we can have just like the car show date or any major events that we can put in the application, you know, for the vendors, so they're aware. That would be
And like
great.
I say, we may be able to just move it up the street a little bit too, so.
Yeah,
We're flexible.
good.
Put some signage
Good.
up or something.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. All right,
And
thank
you'll be
you.
coming
Thanks.
back from
Appreciate all the
north
work
of
you put in
town
on this.
To have events.
That's right.
Thanks.
Next item on the agenda is a special event permit for the high school student council to do the homecoming parade and the new route this year. The chief has been in conference with them. And chief, anything you want to note about that route?
Just for the general public, they're coming out of the high school to Corning and proceeding east to West Street. They're going to take West Street, then south towards Garfield, and finish at the junior high. So they're not going through the downtown area. It really does add a length of the past route was probably about 1.5 miles, and now they're reducing it to 1 mile. And it's okay for the riders, but it's heck on the band players walking that distance. And talking to the police when they were talking about a different route, we were not wanting them to go down Wood Street. That was their alternate route to try to eliminate going through the downtown, but still go by the big church and the post office. But that was one of our positive points of going down Wood because of the narrowness of the street. And there's a lot of street parking there. And we're like, you know, that's unfortunate because the parade's so big and those trucks and floats get very long and it gets to be a problem. So the thing to tell the public is you need to line up south of the post office and Big Church because realistically that's all open area. In the past with the 5th grade center, plenty of parking over there during the event. And this year when the floats come back around to the junior high, if they're carrying people, they're all going to proceed into the junior high lot to dismount. No longer are they going to unload on Garfield by the school. It causes a traffic jam
Yeah.
from the past. So when I talked to the school, we said the police can be there to direct the people to unload at the junior high. They can use the lots there to unload because that's where the problem comes in with all those young people trying to unload on Garfield, and it takes time. And so we can have a traffic direction there, and actually the route requires less people for me to manipulate the parade.
It's cleaner. It's just easier.
Yeah.
It avoids the congestion of the day.
And it just, I think the high school is only concerned with people learning the new route. I said, well, we can direct them if they're lined up early, because they do line up early for that parade. we can show them where it's gonna go, so. Big church would be a great place to park, but you're gonna have to move a little south after the turn. But really, in the past, that whole area is just like, everybody's wall to wall by the church and the post office, but they're not wall to wall going south at all. And so I like the plan. It should take less time. It's easier on the walkers. And that way, the front, it doesn't crisscross, because sometimes a parade being over 45 minutes in length can run into each other.
Yeah.
The lead and the tail haven't crossed, and we have a traffic jam, because it is a very long parade when they get all
The good news too on that is it brings the viewing crowd to a closer proximity, so the parade route is really packed.
Well, yeah, and there's so much space available on Corning Avenue as they come down towards West Street that's not being occupied to its fullest.
Like your front yard.
Like
Yes,
your front yard.
It's going backwards this year, isn't it?
No, it's still going the same way.
Still going the same way.
It starts at the new high school.
Okay.
Comes out to
By
Corning.
All right, we're not turning north on, we're not turning north on west. We're
Yeah.
going south. We're eliminating that whole downtown area.
Going past your house till we get to the big church and
I
turning
just want to make sure I get
south.
all the candy bars and Tootsie Rolls in.
You should be, I think you should be in the first row. They should have plenty.
They still have stuff.
I'll let the kids know. Throw them at you.
And we did ask the schools also remind the float builders, even though some of them are, the high school kids are not building, students are not building floats. They have another plan, but it's the football players. They build these massive floats and they get too high for our trees and the power lines.
Oh, are you
So
kidding me?
last year, one of the goalpost floats, whoever created it, was about that much too high. And,
Oh, Lord.
you know, it got to be a problem. I said, how high can they make these? So hopefully, when I spoke to the school, they're gonna remind the people making floats that they should have a height limit.
Height restriction.
Please do not crisscross with the power lines on Corning Avenue.
Do you have an idea what that height is by any chance?
I would say if you're going over 12 feet, you're too
12 feet.
high,
I just want to know.
because the lines are at least 14 feet up there. The goalpost one, take it down. Whoever built that, that was the only concern I had on the homecoming day. It's coming fast, though. Mantino this Friday Night Lights,
Yeah, it's the 8th.
and then 2 weeks later is homecoming.
Yeah. It's Friday, October 11th, and the parade starts at 4 o'clock.
Lineup is at 3:45.
Line up at 3:45, right. Otherwise, the parade can't start at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, usually they start lining up at like at 2:10.
It's at noon, probably. All right.
All right, sir.
Do we have a motion to approve the request of the High School Student Council for the parade, a homecoming parade to take place on Friday, October 11th, 2013? Line up at 3:45, start at 4 o'clock at the route as designated, along the route as designated.
Motion.
Okay, motion by trustee Forsythe, seconded by trustee Reichert, to approve the request of the Peotone High School Student Council for the annual homecoming parade Friday, October 11th, 2013, beginning at 4 o'clock with a 3:45 lineup along the route described. Please call the roll.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
Mr. Reichert?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
And President Durant.
You betcha. Passes. All right, next item is a business registration. George, you want to talk about that?
We have received the business registration for the wireless store, otherwise known as the Verizon store on Governor's Highway, the corner of Route 50 and Wilmington Road. They comply with the zoning regulations. This is something the board typically addresses as a motion to approve, just to give the business some, a little bit of public relations, that kind of thing.
Okay. And it also gives us all the contact information that we need, should we have to contact the owners of the business for some, when they're closed. Okay, is there a motion to approve the business registration of the Verizon Wireless Store at 600 Governor's Highway?
Motion. Second.
Motion by trustee Forsythe, seconded by trustee Hack to approve. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Reichert?
Yes.
President Durant?
Yes. Motion carries, and the business registration is official now. The next item of business is the awarding the bid for the 2013 sanitary sewer project. George?
The village is advertised for bids for the 2013 sewer rehab contract. The scope of work is the cleaning, televising, and grouting of sanitary sewer lines and manholes located on Route 50 from Terry's Ford to Drexler Road. While 6 companies picked up bid packets, only 2 companies submitted bids. Visa Sewer at $93,597 and National Power Rodding at $68,144.25. The engineer's estimate for the work is $72,000. The village budgeted $73,000. National Power Rodding has performed the work in the past, and the work was done well. Using historic data, the village estimated the number of joints in the scope of work. As the cost of the work is heavily dependent on the number of joints in the line, staff recommends the bid be awarded based on unit prices not to exceed the budgeted amount to National Power Rodding.
Okay, trustees, any questions? Hearing that, I will ask for a motion to award the bid to the National Power Rodding Company at the unit prices bid at a cost not to exceed $73,000.
Motion.
Okay, motion by trustee Forsythe.
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Reichert to award the bid to the National Power Rodding Corporation at the unit price bid, the cost not to exceed $73,000. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
Mr. Reichert?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
President Durant?
Yes. Bid is awarded, contract is awarded. We'll move on the agenda to the next item, which is to award the bid for the 2013 tree service.
The village is advertised for bids for the 2013 tree service program. The scope of work includes the trimming, removal, and disposal of trees, as well as stump grinding and restoration. As many of the trees to be removed are ash borer infestations. Qualifications for bidding including having an arborist on staff and proof of filing an emerald ash borer compliance agreement with the Illinois Department of Agriculture. Contract runs from October 1, 2013 through September 30, 2014. We received 1 bid from AAA Tree Service. The bid sheet was structured so that when evaluating the bids, greater weight was placed on the work we were most likely to use. The unit price the contractor will charge and be paid is found in the unweighted unit cost column. The village budgeted $50,000 for this program. Bid for tree removals, including stump grinding, backfilling, and reseeding, is up to 12-inch, $23. 13 to 24 is $31, 25 to 36 is $34, 37 and over is $35. Bid for tree trimming, up to 12 inches is for all sizes, up to 12 inches through 37 and over is $4.50 per inch. These are all per inch, I'm sorry. Bids for individual stump removals, including stump grinding, backfill, and reseeding, is $8 per inch. Bid for emergency call-out if needed. 1 emergency crew per man-hour is $34 per man per hour. Debris removal is $15 a cubic yard. Snorkel truck is $20 an hour. Chipper is $20 an hour. Clam truck or bobcat with clam is $20 an hour.
AAA has been the company that has won the bid in the past, and we have been pleased with their service and operating within our budgeted amount. And the cleanup, I must say, because they did some stuff on the parkway in front of my house, the cleanup was very, very good, and the restoration. So I need to have a motion to accept the bid of AAA Tree Service at the unit prices indicated, not to exceed the budget amount of $50,000.
Motion. Second.
Motion by trustee Forsythe, seconded by trustee Hack, to accept the bid of AAA tree service and the unit prices indicated not to exceed the budgeted amount of $50,000. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
President Durant?
Yes. Motion carries. The bid is hereby awarded as noted. And we come to the end of the agenda. Is there any correspondence or communication or petitions to come before the board? Any notices of anything due?
Not due. Water bills are going to be mailed next week, the end of the month.
Okay. So you can expect your water bill in the mail. And that's it. I can't think of anything else coming up. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay, motion by trustee Reichert, seconded by trustee Hack, to adjourn the September 23rd, 2013 Peotone, Village of Peotone Board meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
President Durant?
Yes. Meeting officially adjourned.
Love this one. The homeless, the windows open.
I know, isn't the weather nice now?
Yes.